Hi guys, sometimes in FreeCAD, in Part Design Workbench, you might encounter a situation where you have to place one body relative to the other. One way we often do that is to go to the draft workbench and use the move tool to make this operation. However, certain times it fails and certain times the operation is successful. Why there is a workaround that problem, a general workaround that problem, I just wanted to share with you some of the observations I noticed. Let me go ahead and recreate the problem so we have a full idea of what we're saying. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create five different cylinders using the different tools you see up here. I will now be able to demonstrate the problem. So go ahead and create a new file. And with the file selected, let me create the first cylinder. I will call it A. To create this cylinder, we use a sketch. I select this YZ plane and create a cycle of maybe 5 mm radius, and I'm done. I close it. Then using the part tool, now this is the first tool I'm using the part tool, and let me make this say 20 instead, and maybe I would like to reverse it. Yes, and that is it. Okay, so now I have my first cylinder. I'll go ahead and create the second cylinder using this revolution tool. So to do that, again, I create a new body and I will create a sketch and the revolve tool. So I need to use this Argus instead. Let me hide this by going to wireframe and let me this should be 5. This will represent the radius. Should be 20 to represent the length of the cylinder. Then I close it. I can go back to this as it is and hide this for a second. Let me just rename this to side profile. Doesn't matter, but I like to do that. Then I will click on this revolve tool. I want it on the, now it's revolving along the Z axis. I want it to revolve along the X axis. So I will come here and click on base X, and I have this other cylinder. I will rename it B. Okay. So now we have 2 cylinders. I'll go ahead and create a third cylinder using a different method. Again, let me just hide this. Again, a new body. And I will name this C. And I want to use this tool, which is the Addictive Loft. So to do this, I need to create 2 cycles. So I create the first sketch, and just so that we want this same direction. So let me pick this YZ plane, and I will create the cycle, first cycle. There should be a 5. Okay. So for the loft, we need to loft between 2 cycles. So the first one is cycle A. I'll go ahead again and create another sketch, another cycle in the same plane of same radius, which is 5. I close it. So I will name this cycle B. but I want this to be offset. So I need to move it back by 20, minus 20 rather, because I want it in the opposite direction, in the Z direction. So you see what I did here? I just moved to the attachment, then come to the position and change the Z. So now with the two cycles, I can now, with the C active, I can now click on this loft tool, select any of the cycle, it doesn't matter, click OK. When I'm prompted to select another cycle, I click Add Selection. Cycle here, and OK it. So we have the third cylinder. As usual, I can go ahead and move it out a bit out of this. Yeah. 2 more cylinders to go. Now, we also need to create another cylinder using this sweep operation. So again, I use body and rename it to D. We create a sketch first to use the sweep operation. I need this address first. I'm creating the cycle now. Again, as usual, of radius 5. And OK it. This would be the profile. And for this to work in the sweep, I have the cycle, then I want to have a line running from the center of this backward. So I go again and create another sketch. This time around, I want it on the top. So you can see now I have this line tool. I just need to draw a straight line and give it 20. Now 20, this will represent the length of the cylinder. With that done, let me rename this to parts. We're going to sweep this profile along this line or parts. Nothing selected. I can go and click on the Addictive Pipe tool here and click on the profile first. And here I've been prompted to select the part. I just click Add Edge and come here and select the edge. And so now we also have the fourth cylinder, and I can go there using transform tool and move it out a bit. And now let's go and create the last cylinder. That is quite straightforward there. And for this, I just add a came here, this icon here, in case, because I have worked on this before. I think the default shape here should be additive box. So if that is the case, just come down to this drop arrow and look for additive cylinder and click on it. We want our cylinder to be 5 and 20 mm long. But of course, I want it to lie down, so I can use the transform tool and rotate it by 90 degrees using this Y, 90 degrees. And that's it. Now I have all the cylinders I want. I'm gonna have I want to get another shape here. I will rename this as wall. And in the wall, I will just have a sketch. This will just be a normal rectangle. I don't need to label it or constrain it. And I will pad it. Maybe yes, it doesn't matter. Maybe just reverse the pad. It doesn't really matter. Now I will move the one back. And yes. So now the idea is this. I want to try and move this cylinder and snap it on the surface of this wall, of this rectangular object here. And I will try to anchor them to either of the corner and middle of this newly done object. And to do that, one way to do that is to go to the draft workbench. Just come here and click on the draft workbench. And I want to use this move tool. And it might be okay to come to this section here and activate this point here. So I'm going to use this move tool to move it and try to see which will stick to the surface. Now, let's go to the first cylinder we created with pad. To do this, all I just need to do is click on the move tool. Then I'm supposed to select the object I want to move. It's this one. So I come here and select the edge of the sketch. Now, the tool now knows that I'm interested in moving this object, but which part I want the middle. And you can see like this white dots here. Now you see, I'm moving it now. It's moving the middle. Now, these are possible places I can put it on because I have the snap tool on. I could put it at the center. I could also put it at the edge here. You see where you have this white point. So I can put it at any of this position. So being the first cylinder, let's see if you can place it here. And all you should just do is to click your mouse to accept the position. You see, when I click my mouse, it comes back. Let's try that again. Click on the move tool. Let's select the edge first here and select the middle. We could have also tried to put it at the middle. Once I accept it by clicking my mouse button, it sounds like it snaps back, it doesn't stick. So that is the first cylinder. Now let's try this with the second cylinder. The second cylinder, which I created by using the revolution tool, which is B. Again, I go to move. I do the same thing. I select the edge and I come here, I snap to the middle. Now I'm moving the middle of the cylinder. And let's try to stick it here. It doesn't stick. Now let's try C. You can start taking a guess whether it's going to stick on this wall or not. Again, I will follow the same operation. Click on the move tool. Click on the edges. Click on the center. Let's see if it's going to stick to the center. And yes, this is it. Let me undo it again and try now to stick it on just this edge here. So again, I'm coming to cylinder C and I'll click on the move. I'll click on the edge, the center. Now let's try the edge here. So you see this icon, it means it's at the edge. Let's click it. Yes, it stayed. Exactly how we desire. So it seems like C is working as expected. Now let's try D. Go. We click on move. We click on the edge. We click on the center. It's moving. Let's try the other edge here. Yeah. So when you see this icon, yeah, let's see. Is it going to stay? Yes or no? Yes. It stayed. So the one I created with the one I created with Addictive Loft stayed. Now let's try the last one. I will follow similar pattern operation. Click on the move. I select the edge and the center. This time around, let me try to stick it in the middle and bam. And you see, like we have this 3 successful and these 2 didn't go as expected. But you can start seeing a pattern here, right? The ones I created with pad and revolution tool. Let me go back to the pad design workbench. The ones I created with these 2, which is pad and revolution, these are these 2, they didn't work. But the one I created with the loft, Addictive Loft, the sweep, Addictive Pipe, this Addictive Cylinder, and they seem to stick to the surface. One point we can see here is like, what matters is the last operation you perform on the object. For instance, the last operation here is pad. So with this, where we have pad, let's try and use the loft tool on this and see if our theory is correct. So one thing I could have done is with this active, this is the first cylinder. Remember, the last operation is pad, but we want to make sure that the last operation is Addictive Loft. So one thing I can do is to reduce this length to 19 and come to this surface, create a new sketch there. We create a cycle of radius 5. Okay, so make sure that it's at the center, the origin coincide with the center. So you can just select this to center and click on this coincidence constraint. We close it. Now I can offset this new cycle by -1. No, not 1. Sorry, 1. So with that done now, I can now come to this loft tool. Wait, let me close it. So with this face selected, let me come to the loft tool. Then I'm prompted to select the other profile. I'll click add selection. Then I'll come to this new cycle. And this is okay. Now I have a cylinder of the same radius and the same length as usual. And let's see if this will be able to stick it on this surface. So if I go to this draft workbench and I click on the move, which we did earlier on, I click on this edge and I click on the middle. Let's see if we're able to stick it to this edge here. Yes. And you see, just because, remember, the last operation is Addictive Loft. And so that is it. And for the other one, which is the revolution as well, we could have, yeah. So let's, for this revolution, I want us to try this, the sweep operation on it. So because I want it just for consistency to be the same radius and length, so one thing I could do is come to this initial, no, that is B, is to come to this initial sketch and change the radius of these to 4. Okay. So, but we come around here and on the surface here, we create a new sketch. First, let's remember to make the body active. We toggle it active. So we come to the surface, we create a new sketch. And we create a cycle of radius Make sure it's at the center of radius 5. Yes, my radius 5. And now, if we come to this sweep tool, we click on sweep. This sketch here, and you have to see it because it's the only sketch here, right? This sketch here is being selected automatically because the system knows that this is just the only valid sketch we can use for the operation. So again, I go ahead and click on the sweep tool. The profile has been selected automatically, and here I'm going to click on this add edge, and then come to this edge and click on it. So we have another cylinder of the same radius and length. And now let's go back to the draft workbench and click on this move tool. I select this edge, and the center is this. And let's try to stick it here. And you see it. So just because the last tool we use in this body happen to be these additive pipes, didn't have the issue or the problem we had. And same way, we could have tested this. For instance, this one, where is it? See that we had no issue. And let's just go ahead and prove that and show that. If, for instance, so let's move it away. Yeah, let's just move it away. If, for instance, we decided to extrude the surface and click on extrude. But let's see. If, for instance, decide to extrude this surface by 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. 1. Now you can guess. The last activity here is the pad. Now, do you think we'll be able to move it to stick to the surface or not? Let's try our observation. I will go back to the draft workbench, click on this move tool, select the edge, select the center, and let's get it to this edge here and click OK. You see it failed. Again, click on the move tool, select the edge, select the center, and we're trying to stick it here. You see the icon is there. Now let's click it. You see it refused to stay, and just because the last feature here happens to be the pad. So the last feature here in these activities in the pad design workbench will determine if this operation is successful or not. Like we see, it seems like activities such as this, the Addictive Loft, Addictive Pipe, and Addictive Shapes will make the object, will make us be able to carry out this operation in the draft workbench. But other activities like the padding and the revolution tool will make it not possible. Similarly, if you can try this as well, other operation, which I'm not going to try in this video, but you can try that on your own on a other video. You find out, like, depending on the last activities you carry out here, you will be able to make this operation in draft workbench or not. But there's one general way to fix this, irrespective of the tool you use. There's one general way to fix this, which is what I've seen online. So for instance, this one that it fails to work, we could have come here and gone to the parts workbench and come to parts, come to compound, and click on make compound. Now, if we go back to the draft workbench, and click on move and select this edge here and click on the middle point, and let's try to stick it again, and you see we're able to stick it. So now, as you can see, irrespective of the operation you use in the part design workbench, if you make it a compound object by going to parts and doing the operation which we did earlier on, you will get the operation to work. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe you don't want to create this, go to part design, you don't want to create this compound, then one workaround is to make sure that your last operation has nothing to do with pad or revolution, but more of this additive operations. And likewise, I think I've tried this through as well, or thereabouts. It's going to fail, but why you might not have problem with the other? I think so. I need to demonstrate that. In future, I'll also be coming up with some of the problems new beginners might encounter when using FreeCAD and how to circumvent them. Thank you very much.